Everyone, Rachel Gomez, CEO and founder of Artsy. Again, I'm not usually the one in front of the camera. This is really a big treat for me today. Today we have with us Alysha Myronuk, and this is really just a cool thing for us to be able to cover. We have a new reality show that is shooting on location here in Las Vegas, the Sin City Makeover. So it is our treat and our honor to be able to interview one of their contestants. So Alicia, oh my goodness, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for having me. And we actually go by competitors because it's a competition. Literally everything's a competition. I imagine people who do this podcast as part of the competition because it's really, this whole thing is so incredible. Sin City Makeover is through the genius of executive producer Ace Michaels. And I am here because when he asked me to be part of this show, he's like, you need to be a competitor on this show. And I was like, I think you might be doing something you shouldn't be doing because I'm 47 years old and you want me to go up against different people in Vegas and let's just say maybe strippers, models. I'm the most average girl ever. And he's like, he already knew about the concept that I'm bringing to the world, and that's the reason why I chose to do it. So I'm also a fellow podcaster, and I am the creator of a concept called Myrony, which is my plus irony, but you take out the I because it's not about I, it's about we and something so much greater. And the general definition is the crazy coincidences that happen in life that you can't explain. However, I know there are no coincidences. I believe there are no coincidences. And so from a spiritual perspective, well, that was a tongue twister. It's actually the action to synchronicity. So I say synchronicity is a sign, Myrony is the action that leads to serendipity, and that's how I got on the show.
Oh my God,
And my podcast is called That's Myrony.
Oh my gosh, you're definitely going to have to share that information with us. How cool is that? And I can't tell you how many times I completely relate. How many times little things will happen, it'll be like, I'm sure that wasn't a coincidence.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's actually the first episode of my podcast is Discover Myrony and Your Inner Superpower. So I call my spiritual gift my spiritual spidey sense. And that's actually how I connected to Ace Michaels.
Wow.
And what brought me to Vegas. And it's quite the story.
I love that. So let's go ahead and start with the show itself, because that's kind of the big news, the big fun thing that's being highlighted right now. So you got connected with him through your podcast?
No, actually not. I actually came to Vegas because I'm a brand ambassador for a spiritual humanitarian organization called Sharing that stands for Sending Hope and Rebuilding International Goals. And the thing is, I do things before things actually have reason to happen in a weird way. Again, I get these intuitive pulls. The spiritual gift I have is called claircognizance, the gift of knowing. It kind of feels like you're wearing a blindfold and you're just doing the weirdest things ever. And I say follow the spiritual breadcrumbs because sometimes it's a giant loaf of bread like smacking you across the face that you can't miss it. But it's actually the smallest crumbs that then lead to the miracles, not only in your life, but in others people's lives. And that's how I met Ace, because he actually came in through a friend who had just been invited to the event literally the day before. There was only a 2-day event, small event, maybe 50 people. And he came in to help film his friend. And I was I loved how he was just taking pictures and not posing people, because that's actually what Myrony is. It's a whole new form of content we can share on social media in addition to our selfies. And the idea is Myrony, you catch moments and not pictures.
Oh, I love that.
So it's meant to create something for people who don't want to. The one thing is we could actually take a picture of all of us in this room and we wouldn't have to have our faces. We could have the microphone and just the whole scene, but take our faces out. We could show our shoes, for goodness sakes, whatever. Because so many people are insecure about how they look, and that's when all the filters come on and the most inauthentic of ourselves come out. And so I saw him and I said, I don't know what it is, but I need to share with you my concept. And he got to listen to a bunch of my podcasts and we became friends. He's like, oh my goodness, Alicia, this is amazing.
Wow.
And so then he's like, you need to be on my reality TV
Well,
show.
I love that. I love that.
And so that's the idea, is that when a door opens, because I really actually was hesitant for about 30 seconds. I was like,
So sorry.
no, that's okay.
Okay, go ahead.
But yeah, I was hesitant for about 30 seconds because I was like, you've got to be kidding me. You want me to do this? And then I remembered what Myrony is. And in my logo, there's a little wink. And I call him Winky. And I represent him as God is love with an awesome sense of humor. Not in a religious sense. And for those that connect that way, wonderful. But I look at God outside of a box. And he's kind of magical, miraculous, and mischievous. So Winky, wherever Winky goes.
Yeah, I always say God has a funny sense of humor. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And that's why I believe we're now having this conversation, because I believe that those were meant to have the conversations. But that's the whole point. When a door opens, we walk through. So he opened a door. And so for the listeners, the invitation is just have a conversation. You see that sign, you get that gut feeling. There's something more to come from it. And when that happens, you will start following. Steve Jobs used to say, connect the dots, but you see the dots backwards. I say follow the spiritual breadcrumbs, because it's going to lead to wherever you're meant to in your life. The
spiritual breadcrumb. I love that. I love that. Thank you for that. So that's kind of interesting then, because the premise of the show is a lot of physical
So
makeover,
then there's
right?
a different piece to this. So the tagline for the show is get fit, get fabulous, get famous. But why do you want to be famous? So I want to get fit.
Right.
I mean, who doesn't?
Right.
We're working with freaking celebrity coach of the superstars.
Sure.
I mean, Roby Tout is, oh my goodness, he's incredible for those that don't know him. He's literally the secret weapon. I don't think these people have their bodies the way that they do without possibly his help.
Wow, that's amazing.
But he also has other therapies too. I actually have horrific Achilles tendonitis right now. That's why I can only wear sneakers. He's helping me heal my ankles before I have to compete in the next 6 weeks. I start in.
Wow.
So it's therapeutic. This has actually been publicly announced, but he actually helped Justin Bieber with Bell's palsy when it's like Roby is amazing. And so it's such an honor to be connected to people like this, like our other celebrity coach, Kim Couture. You know, she's a pioneer in women's MMA fighting. I saw a picture that she was a freaking American Gladiator.
Right.
Like, I'm dating myself a little bit because the 20-year-olds be like, what, American Gladiator? Yeah, there was a show, American Gladiator, where people just beat the crap out of each other. And I was like, oh my God, you were that girl?
That girl. Oh.
Now we're friends. And so it's just so much
Very
fun.
cool.
It's really funny. I actually have something, and I think I'm going to do this for my podcast, because I keep meeting the coolest people, but I call it the Myronic misadventures of the Myronic virgin in Sin City, because I don't know anything about Vegas. I'm always getting lost. I'm always ending up in the wrong place. I'm like,
that's
but
funny.
it always ends up being something even greater reason. And so I'm actually a Virgo, so the virgin thing goes along
How
with
funny.
it. Yeah.
But how cool your concept with, what was it? The misadventures
The Myronic misadventures.
Virgin
Yep.
of Vegas.
The Myronic misadventures of the Myronic virgin in Sin City.
I love it.
They're not misadventures. I actually have my own spiritual modality. I call it the Myrony method, a key to unlock your soul's blocks, and I do it in 4 sessions or less. I've been on this hiatus for a while, but my whole thing is, and if anybody wants to hear my story, I have a crazy story. I was born, engaged, and married in the same hospital because my father was terminally ill. How does that happen?
Oh my.
Apparently to bring Myrony to the world. So that's the first
Yeah.
episode, everyone. Going back to the show, the reason why this show is so important and why it is going to become a national biggest reality success, because it's actually meant to lift people up and not tear them down. Now, I don't know how the other competitors, some might try to go all dog eat dog, but I'm a team player, and whoever may the best one win. But the beautiful thing is we help charities. We are going to be known throughout Vegas. We're going to go wherever, and we're going to be known because we're here to have just a lot of fun. But we're having, it really is a Sin City family, and everybody is invited.
I love
so
that.
that's the whole thing, is that you don't just get physically fit, you also get financially. They have financial coaches, they have life coaches. They're meant to it's meant to transform people's lives. This is not just a traditional makeover show. This is a
Right.
transformational makeover
Well,
show.
and I think that was probably the thing that interested me the most because truthfully, I'm not a huge, I don't watch a lot of reality
No.
TV or
It
anything.
is good drama. Now, every now and again, like Real Housewives,
Has to
like,
have it, yeah.
ooh.
Has to have it. So it's like I'm waiting for those moments. But in the same sense, when Ace was explaining it to me, right in the middle of everything, it was like, Rachel, because we really just need help with the next rounds, coordinating some new contestants and competitors and getting the word out. And I'm thinking to myself, well, what makes this different from the others? Is it a contest? What's the real theme behind it? And he was saying this is really about full transformation.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not just a body makeover. It is, as you mentioned, there's the health wellness piece, there's the financial wellness piece. And so all of that goes into the full psyche, right? And the full everything that makes us who we are. We can't just buff up and beef up and take care of the outside and not take care of
Right.
the inside. So I
Exactly.
love that concept, and I thought, wow, I'm really interested and I want to see how this all kind of plays out.
Well, I'm so excited for you to hear, because all the competitors are amazing. The coaches, I like to say it's the divine design that interweaves us together. It was what Myrony is. And I truly believe, in a weird way, I've been saying it's like an army of angels is coming over and taking over Sin City in a beautiful way. It's actually to show the true Vegas that no one knows.
Yep, I agree. I love it. In Vegas, for all that we are known for, there's a lot that we're not known for. And I think there's this whole spirit of community, of a spirit of let's help lift each other up, elevate each other, that really gets kind of hidden with all of the glitz and the glamour. So I'm really excited to be able to see this. And hey guys, this is like housed in Vegas, shot in Vegas, and this is what we are looking for. So Artsy, our platform, we're a jobs and collaboration platform for the arts and entertainment industry. And we launched about a little over a year ago.
Oh, wow.
And the idea was let's elevate the people, the creatives, the talent, the writers, directors, everybody in the industry, and help them to connect, help them make it easier to collaborate. Let's create this platform for them. That's really all that we are. And we found that the reach was really global. We had people on Broadway, we have opera singers, sound designers, we have animation producers, and all different
Wow.
aspects of the industry. And it's like, oh my gosh, you can't even focus on one because everybody is just bringing their entire selves and their passions to what they do. And so the platform was really just there to help facilitate these conversations.
awesome.
But at some point, somebody was like, Rachel, you're based in Vegas. Why aren't you doing anything with Vegas? It's like, oh, but the world, the country, everybody else. And they're like, no, focus on Vegas. And the more that I did, the more that I realized we are just breaking out. So it was really interesting because when we first launched Artsy, so my background is I've done things since I was a kid, piano at 5, guitar, sing, vocal coach. I did a lot of things on stage, singing in bands, but also all of my circles, right? You're not just a performer by yourself. You usually have a little tribe and a community that you work with. And then my business background as a recruiter, all of a sudden, everybody would be like, Rachel, help me find a job. Rachel, help me with my resume. Rachel, I was like, you know what? These things don't work for the arts and entertainment industry. So it sort of kept nagging at me, and finally I decided, let me just create it. I'm just going to create it, and we'll see what happens. I created it, and as I started telling people, they were like, oh, that's perfect. I want to be on. I want to be part of it. I want to support it. And we were getting people from LA, the filmmakers. We had an animation producer who's well-connected in Mexico. We have people on Broadway and opera singers. The locals, my local friends are like, what about us? What about Vegas? We've got a whole hub here of super talented people. We have all of these production companies, theater companies, and then everybody on the strip, and you aren't doing anything to highlight the people in your own hometown. I was like, you're right. And so we decided, let's shift it a little bit. And as we put it out there, I was really surprised. I guess surprised in one respect because we know what the numbers look like, but surprised in that Everybody's craving that. Everybody's craving the sense of community. And what can we do to connect better? How do we have better access to each other? How can we collaborate so that our creative projects become bigger than just what we are in our initial vision? And so that's probably the most exciting thing for me. So now having you on and being able to talk about this new reality show that's really focused on transforming the person, the whole person. How exciting is that?
But it's not even transforming an individual. It's transforming exactly what you're saying. It's transforming community.
I love it.
It's literally, we go as a force, and we're here to help and not hurt. And so this force that no one knows about yet, it's kind of like Star Wars. Like, really, seriously. I actually call myself Baby Yoda because weird things happen all the time, and I like snacks, and I like to sleep. But, and I get lost all the time. That's because he gets in trouble all the time. And, it's better than being the old Yoda because Baby Yoda's kind of cute.
He is cute.
But, that's the whole thing. No one knows what's coming. And that's what's so beautiful. And it's the only reason I've been given maybe a little bit more insight is I did not apply for this. I was invited by Ace to be part of this because he knew what I was trying to bring to the world. What I was here to bring to the world, truthfully, it's the same thing. Like we were saying, the Myronic misadventures. Well, those can be everybody's Myronic misadventures. I'm just a messenger of the word that just so happens to have the last name of Myronic spelled differently. I feel like I've been destined for this. But I will tell you, it's been a hard journey. It's been such a long journey because I believe I had to find everybody, even down to how I found Ace. I mean, he happened to walk in, but I paid attention. And so it's like what you were saying with Artsy. You had this pull.
Yeah.
And look what you've created now from it. And I did say a second ago that I had a beautiful story. Actually, one of the bartenders at the beautiful luxury boutique hotel, the Ahern, that no one knows about.
I've never heard of that.
And my degree's in hotel restaurant management. I used to own a fine dining restaurant.
Wow.
So I know quality and whatnot, and this place is a little hidden gem. It's literally catty corner to the stratosphere.
Wow.
Well, this bartender, I was like, you need to be on this show because he's actually from Argentina. His name's Sebastian, so you probably at some point maybe might be interviewing him. I literally met him, like we talked yesterday, and here we are having a conversation now about exactly what you're saying because he's actually a DJ. In Miami, he was well known.
Wow.
He's come to Vegas, and he's not known.
Right.
And I said, well, I think you can become known if you choose to put yourself out there. And I will tell the audience, listeners will video, I don't even know what to call people when you're watching.
I know, right?
I'm so used to our friends.
Yeah.
Friends out there.
Yes.
That I was terrified to speak in public. I was literally trained, and this is episode 2 and 3 of my podcast. I'm not going to go into all of that. But when I owned my restaurant, I would be terrified to go up to guests that I didn't know. And here I am talking the way that I am. And it took years and years and years to finally have the confidence. I'm losing my hair. I have alopecia. I actually want to, on the fashion part of this, be able to wear wigs. As a white girl, feel confident and not feel like I'm being a fake.
Oh, that's interesting.
There's different stigmas in, I don't know what it is, but it's being brought out there. My goal is just to be the most authentic, Myronic version of myself.
I love it.
And also share everybody else how they can be that way too.
And I think there's kind of this recurring theme that I've been feeling a lot lately, whether it was through Artsy or any other of these wonderful projects that are out there. And it's really celebrating. It's the celebration of our journeys. Whatever we are doing, we don't come into it perfect. We don't come into it having all the knowledge. We don't come into it having all the right connections. And yet we just manage to, by kind of trusting, right, in the universe and opening ourselves up, things just happen for us. And I think in that process, that's one of my goals for myself for this year, is to make sure that I'm celebrating the entire process and not just doing it and making things happen and making sure Artsy works and making sure I'm interviewing the right people, but just really opening up and just enjoying the entire process. And I think for you, right, here you're saying lack of confidence way back when. hard to see it. Hard to see it. So I'm sure that things are just going to open up for you. It's really exciting.
It's so exciting. And what I do with sharing the nonprofit as a brand ambassador with Myrony, it's called Myrony Money in Motion, or actually Myrony Money with Sharing. And what I came up with is mindset in motion leads to manifestation. So the biggest piece to people understanding how to manifest, you need to be in action. And so that's the biggest encouragement. Be in action of whatever it is. No, you can't, it's not meant to be perfect.
Right.
And I'm gonna end. I'm being guided to share. It was a beautiful channeled message that came out on August 20th, 2016. I was not the one who channeled it. I was the one that found the person who did. But the message is: one foot leads straight, the other is misguided. Both are necessary and will always be present. Make sure to follow the straight foot because it's the fastest path to your destiny.
I love that. Can we use that quote?
Absolutely. It's
That
part
was
of
beautiful.
Myrony
Yeah.
messages.
I love that.
Part of my modality.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. I feel like I am, many of us probably, but I can certainly relate to it, that my foot oftentimes goes forward, but there is this other one
Going in
that's going in a completely
And
different direction.
truthfully, the way to try to, or possibly stay on that straight foot, keep following your intuition.
Yeah.
Just keep following it. How many times when you haven't followed your intuition because you followed your head and it psyched you out or whatever, you're like, darn it, I should not have listened to my brain. Everybody says I should have listened to my gut. That feeling, and that is what Myrony is.
I love
And so
that.
I encourage everybody to find out what's your spiritual spidey sense. What's your superpower? I call mine my spiritual spidey sense. Some people see it. They're clairvoyant. They see it. Figure out what your superpower is.
I love that. I love that. So now when we're looking at the show, so you said you're not part of the first season? So
No, well, it's not first season necessarily.
that
So
working?
how it's actually, the beautiful thing about this show is it keeps morphing into whatever it's going to be. There, like how I said, God, I'm trying to get out of a box, and that's what Myrony is. This show is not in a box.
I love it. Yeah.
That's the beauty. I say Ace Michaels is either evil or a genius or an evil genius in the best way possible, because you never know what's
Right.
going to be happening. And so it's now eight competitors for 6 weeks. So 4 girls, 4 guys. They compete for 6 weeks. But then there's the next round of competitors. So I'm part of the next round that will start filming in February.
Oh,
so
perfect.
then next 6 weeks. And then we're still in the competition, whoever wins. And then they're having the ultimate showdown at the end of the year for who the big Sin City Makeover winner is.
Oh,
So-
now that is exciting. So give us an idea, since, again, reality show kind of newbie, don't know a whole lot of, but I'm sure there's like drama thrown in there. What is sort of the week or a day like during this competition?
We don't even know. We actually filmed the pilot on Tuesdays. But as me not being a competitor, I'm there for just a couple. But I'm going to be at the barbershop cheering on my team members for
At
karaoke
Cosmopolitan
at the
Hotel.
Cosmopolitan. Yep.
So now, help me understand this correctly. Is it like a karaoke sing-off?
Yes, it is amazing with a live band. So I got to go right before Christmas to check it out, because actually we have a girl and guy host, and so the guy host is actually, he's the singer, Sean, and I'm sorry I can't remember his last name, and I'm not even going to try to butcher that. He's the one that's supposed to antagonize us and
I love it.
probably get us to lose our cool on camera
I
and
love
that
it.
sort of thing. But yeah, you get up and do karaoke with a live band. And one of the things with karaoke that's so terrifying is not having the energy. So that's the first big, well, one of the other competitions, and I guess I can't tell all of that. So I'm going to leave some things out because I'm like, whoops, maybe can't say that. But this one, because everybody's allowed to come and join who's in Vegas. So I don't know when this is actually going to be airing.
Fun.
That they can come out and be part of the energy. The first 8 competitors, that's their competition. Get up and on stage and sing, whether you know how to or not.
Right. Oh, I love it. How fun.
Yeah, it's really and it's such a cool venue. It's like a speakeasy. You walk through a barbershop that actually they cut hair at the barbershop.
Oh my gosh,
And then
how
there's
cool
like a
is
secret
that?
door. It reminds me so much of Hollywood, like the Hollywood.
I love it. I really want to hear more about your podcast. You've alluded to it a little bit, talked about some of the fun topics that you cover, but what inspired you to create your own
Well, I
podcast
think
and
that's
to share it with
another
that?
whole conversation,
Yeah.
in all honesty, because it's such a long story that I was given. So it's actually all told in the first episode of my podcast, Discover Myrony and Your Inner Superpower, where the basic gist is I was born, engaged, and married in the same hospital because my father was terminally ill. And then one of my true soulmate loves, who I have no hard feelings, this is not, but I had a girl who worked for me, and I haven't said this publicly very often, but it is the truth, and karma is really the B word. But she actually lied about having cancer and going through chemotherapy when she had a hernia, when it came up on the 1-year anniversary of my father's passing. It's the truth. It's not slander. It's actually
Sure.
what happened. This all started at her son's 1-year birthday party. It's crazy story. And
Wow.
it destroyed me because we met at this restaurant, this fine dining restaurant where I was the general manager and he was the chef, and then we were offered to buy the restaurant. So now I'm in this drama. Like, that could have been a reality show.
Oh my
Like,
goodness, sure.
But it was actually a book that saved my life that my friend who took my wedding pictures gave me, called Many Lives, Many Masters by Dr. Brian Weiss. And so it became, I never knew what I would be doing. I didn't know what Myrony was. How I came up with the word was I used to sell Jaguars and Land Rovers. So this all happened on the East Coast. I'm from New Jersey, like an hour outside New York City. But I always say I'm not one of those Jersey girls. Like, that's a whole different kind of Jersey. And I lived on the East Coast, but then at one point I was like, I have got to move. I got to go a place where I have no memories of anything, because I was so broken. And I don't want to cry, so I'm going to do my best not to, because you still get emotional over it. But this book, without it, I would not have survived. And so it became my biggest mission to get this awareness out there on the spiritual level of like why we choose what we do in life.
I was just thinking about that, of all the choices that we can make in life and how we impact others. It's interesting.
So
right?
I realized I needed to go back. I
Yeah.
needed to get divorced so I could go back to being Myronic, so I could bring Myrony to the world.
That's what was meant to happen.
Exactly.
So yay for you.
Exactly. And that's why
Congratulations.
I still have complete love for my ex-husband, and I feel compassion for her, but she's crazy. Like, how do you do that? But that's okay, because I also understand from a spiritual perspective of looking at maybe you're equivalent of a spiritual 3-year-old who doesn't know what the heck you're doing, and you just caused but whatever. It is what it is. But how I came up with the word is when I used to sell Jaguars, the car, not the animal, in California, and people would say, how do you say your last name? I said, it's like ironic, but with an M.
I love
then
that.
I added, there's a lot of Myrony in my life. And people would laugh. And then I realized, oh my goodness, these are those signs that I see all the time.
All the time.
And that's how Myrony came into existence back in 2015. And then I was spiritually guided to start a podcast. And I found my podcast producer. And that's episode 4 for anybody who wants to hear that. And that's actually the first time I ever got behind a mic.
Wow.
And so, the rest is history on that side.
Well,
But-
please share that information with us so we can share it with all of our listeners and users on the platform as well. And congratulations to you. That is so exciting.
Thank you.
And-
So again, the
yeah.
podcast is That's Myrony. I'm very proud. I'm top 5% globally.
Good girl. Look at us.
Yeah.
And we're really honored to have you here then.
Aw,
My
thank you.
goodness. Thank you. Thank you. And so we can't have favorites when it comes to the contestants or the competitors on the show, but we wish you a lot of luck in it and can't wait to follow your journey through the whole
Aw.
process. It'll be a lot of fun to watch. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. It's been an
Absolutely.
honor, and it's so exciting what's happening, and I can't wait for everybody to see what's really going to happen in Sin City.
Yay.
Thanks to Sin City Makeover.
Sin City Makeover. Thank you so much.